Hello, everybody. Sorry about those technical difficulties that we had in the beginning, but hopefully we're getting through it and it'll still be a great presentation today. I'm really excited. We have Brad Banz back today. He's presented with us multiple times and he always does a wonderful job. So you guys are definitely in for a treat today. But my name is Leah. I'm the administrative assistant here at Africa Fire Mission. And I just want to welcome everybody to the training today. Thank you so much for coming and for hanging in with us in the beginning there. I know it was a little rough there for a second, but thank you so much for being patient with us. And I just want to remind everybody that this training is being recorded, and I will be posting it on our YouTube channel later in the week. And I also just ask that everybody meets themselves during the training so that we just get that clear audio, not only for you guys right now, but also for the recording if you want to go back and watch it. It will be, like I said, posted, and then also I will be sending out certificates either later in the day, today, or later in the week, just depending on what my work day looks like. I know that sometimes I don't get them out on the day of. I promise I'll get them out on the day after that. But if you attend 75% of the training, that usually looks like 45 minutes of the training. If it's an hour-long training, then you'll be getting a certificate. And as Jose was saying in the very beginning, the name that you're logged on with right now is the name that will be on your certificate. So please make sure it's the correct name. And then if you're also joining in a big group, please just let me know. You can either put it in the chat or you can email me, whichever one you would prefer, and I'll get the certificates to everybody in the group. And with all that being said, I'm going to pass it off to our fire safety advocate, Jose, so he can share a little bit of a word of encouragement with you guys.
Asante sana, Leah. Thank you very much, Leah. Truly appreciate that everybody is on board, especially with Brad, with the technical difficulties. Thank you for tuning in. Well, I'll jump right into the encouragement of the day so that we can get into learning about the topic of today. So I will read, just allow me to read from the Bible. I'll jump into Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 to 20. It goes and says, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age." You know, I was reading this verse and I was like, in this particular point, it talks about making disciples in all nations. And as you know, I've been going around the country, around the country, talking about fire prevention and fire safety, and encouraging fire stations to actually get out there and do whatever is required in regards to uniqueness in their community. And the reason why I'm doing this is for us to have a replication and multiply in number, you know, because having one person to do it will not be as effective when we have more than 12 or 15 people doing it concurrently every day, every time. That one, we get to reach more people, and also we get to save more lives and property. Did you know more than 80% of the fires that happen within our areas, most of them is because of people not being keen around themselves. I'm careful to use my words and not say carelessness, but most of the time is usually people not being keen, you know, leaving the cooker on, not checking the electricity, you know, things like those. So putting too many plugs on the multi-plug. So by us constantly going many people in all nations, these nations are the communities that we have been given authority to protect and to educate. So I'd encourage us, even the time I'm coming to your place, let me not just come and then it all stops there. When I come, leave you with the good news, and then you multiply. All right? And also go on YouTube, get to see how you can do community fire prevention. Go there and replicate and replicate. Therefore, we shall get to save more lives and property. Thank you all for listening in the word of encouragement. And I'll jump this up to Leah. I'll take it to Leah so that she can tell us what to do next.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jose. And now I just want to reintroduce y'all to Brad. He's going to be doing a presentation on hand tools today, which is really exciting. And I'm going to be sharing his presentation today. Like I said, we were having some technical difficulties. And so hopefully this is all going to work out. We haven't done this before. So just so you're aware, if anything seems a little funky, it's totally my fault. Because I'm just not used to this. But hopefully you guys can see my screen now. Is that all looking good? Awesome.
Yep,
Brad?
that looks good, Leah. Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
my apologies. I was having audio issues on my end, so I think we have them fixed. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for the great words of encouragement. We really appreciate that, Jose. And Jose just got back from a great trip here not that long ago to Malawi, where he was helping to multiply. So he is definitely practicing what he was talking about. So anyway, for those of you that have never been on and that don't know me, my name is Brad Banz. Retired fire chief from Colwich, Kansas, the little town that I live in. And I retired from Wichita, Kansas, from their fire department, where I was the captain. So anyway, once again, thank you. We're going to be talking about some hand tools today. Going over a few things about hand tools. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll Leah, I think I'll just kind of tell you, there we go. I've never done this that much, so Leah and I will just be coordinating with each other. So get started here. A few things that we're going to be talking about. First thing, we're going to be talking about the different types of work that firefighters do. Things that we're going to be using hand tools on. You know, hand tools, that's a big part of what firefighters do. When we jump off the rig, we go to a fire, we jump off the rig, go to do work, especially on a fire. We always tell the new young guys, you grab a tool when you go into to go to a fire. So that's a big deal. So, and it depends on the kind of work that we're going to be doing. So we'll be talking about that. There's several different groups of different types of hand tools. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the specific types of hand tools in each one of those groups. Talking about how the hand tools can be used for different types of work. Discussing that. Local resources, available resources. You guys may not necessarily have a specific type of tool. What can we use instead to do the same kind of work? We're discussing that. And then talking about maintenance finally. So that's what we're going to cover today. So Leah, let's go on to the next one. So what do we do as firefighters? We have some pictures here to kind of go along with it. Of course, we do fire attack. We go in and get after that fire. So we're going to be using, if you can kind of see in the picture, they're using, and it's really small, so it's hard for me to see. I'm on my cell phone. I had to improvise and go from my computer screen to my cell phone. But they're using tools to open up and get to that fire in fire attack. So that's one thing that you're going to use your tools for it to help in getting to the seat of that fire. So forcible entry. Okay, you gotta take a door, take a window to make entry to get into the building to start with. I think that's in that upper right hand corner is that forcible entry, if I remember right. I say it's hard being on my phone. Rescue. Okay, if you're say getting to a car doing like extrication. I've got a picture there where that firefighter's using a hand tool there to do extrication on the car. Okay, that's another way. We talk about a lot. I did a class on extrication here a while back. We talked about the jaws and using jaws for extrication. You can use hand tools and do a lot in extrication. Okay, ventilation. This center left hand one, you can see where that firefighter's up on a ladder and taking a window out. So that's another reason you might use hand tools. Finally, overhaul. Get that fire knocked down, you got to get those hidden fires. So overhaul, that's another thing that firefighters do. So okay, so what kind of tools do firefighters have to do the job? Okay, so we're gonna kind of get into covering the different groups of tools. So that's the next thing we're going to get into. That's those general groups. Okay, we have cutting tools, cutting and striking tools. Okay, then striking tools, prying tools, and push and pull tools. Hold on just a second here, Leah. So it's just kind of what the name implies, the cutting tools. Anything that you can breach. If it gets too loud, the railroad train's coming through. I wanted to come outside today because it's such a nice day out. We'll wait for the railroad train to get through here in just a second. You guys hear okay?
Yeah, it's coming through fine.
Okay.
It's not too loud.
So the cutting tools, that's going to be anything that you can make a hole with, any kind of breaching, things like that. Your cutting and striking tools, that could be a combination that you can cut a hole with and strike another tool with. Used to strike the backside of use the surface of it to strike another object with, kind of a combination tool. Striking tools, you could use to strike another tool with, strike the surface of another object with. Okay, your prying tools, say just as implied, you could be prying against the surface of another object to do lifting, prying metal away, things like that. Your push and pull tools, usually going to be pulling things down, pushing things away, pulling things back, moving things around. That's your push and pull type tools. Okay, so we can go ahead and move on, Leah. Okay, so you're getting into your tools that I say tools designed for firefighting. Some of these may be tools that you can get off the shelf and use for other things too, but some of these tools are designed specifically for firefighters. Start off with your cutting tools. The one in the left, that's going to be your pickhead axe, what they call your pickhead axe. The one on the right is going to be your bolt cutters. What specific kind of jobs can they be used for? Jose, I'm gonna enlist your help, and I can't see a lot of the people on the group here.
Okay.
I want you to pick somebody out of the group, and we're gonna have some interaction.
Okay.
See if we can get an answer from the audience as to what they think pickhead X might be used for.
Patrick Moy. Okay. Florence Mwatete. What do you think a pickhead axe is?
Yeah, also
Yeah, please go ahead, Errol.
the one in the picture,
Okay.
Yes, the one
What
in
do you
the
think it
picture.
could be used for?
standalone. It can be used for also forcible entry.
Okay, that's one use.
Euban also had his hand raised. Euban, do you want to answer the question or
Euban?
have another input?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can be
Yuban, go
used
ahead,
for extrication as well.
Very good. Extrication. So we have forcible entry. So absolutely, you can use it to help force a door, force a window for extrication. Gaining that purchase point, getting in, using that pick head to open that sheet metal up. How about in fire attack, you think? Does anybody think you could use it to open a wall up? Possibly. Yep, absolutely. Ventilation, taking a window. Absolutely.
To check the
Very-
floor.
Absolutely. Opening the floor up. Very good. Thank you for the answers. Okay, bolt cutters. Okay, let's go back to the bolt cutters for a second. Bolt cutters. Some uses for those. Great for padlocks. If you have padlock doors, you have small bars. You might be able to get small bars. You guys, usually the bars on the windows, things like that. You guys don't have chains. Very good. Yes, chains. You guys don't have so much as far as barbed wire fences. Here, when we go out on bush fires, we have to get our trucks in to fields. We can use those to cut the barbed wire fences to get our trucks into fields. So certain types of fences we can use to cut the fences to where we can get our trucks into fields, things like that. All good uses. So, okay, we can move on now, Leah. Okay, so now let's get on to the cutting and striking tools. So we have a different kind of axe here. We have our flathead axe and splitting maul. Has anybody ever seen a splitting maul? Anybody? I've worked a lot with the flatheads. Has anybody seen a splitting maul before? Okay, we'll go back to
We're seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, I've never seen them that much. Never seen them in use in the fire service that much. The flathead axes, you see those a lot. There's another tool that we'll have coming up that it's paired with a lot called the Halligan, and when you pair those two, they call the set the irons. But the flathead axe, of course, you can use it a lot, and in the same manner as far as the cutting, the same uses that you would as a pickhead axe as far as cutting. The back side, it has the ability to strike. When we get into the Halligan tool, you'll be able to see where you can use it to strike the Halligan, which is a prying tool, and those make a great combination for doing a lot of things. You can use the back side of that flathead axe, especially on wood roofs. You can use it for ventilation. You can open up a wooden roof. You would think you would use the sharp edge, but you can actually use that flat side and open up a wooden roof very quickly if you don't have a saw. So it's amazing. Trick that I learned when we were doing ventilation class. So going on to the striking tools. Sledgehammer, obviously, you can use it for striking the edge of another tool. Forcible entry, that's a very that's a must. You can use it for your if you have to take a window, open a window up, you can use it for ventilation, taking that glass out. Rescue, you can use it along with some of your other prying tools. So if you don't have a flathead axe, you can use it with the Halligan tools or other prying tools to drive in and gain those purchase points. So just some ideas for using that. Okay, there's your prying tools that we were talking about. The one in the center, that is your Halligan tool. Great tool, say paired with the flathead axe. It's called an iron set. You can see on the bottom, it's has a forked end. You can use it for doing a lot of prying. The other end is what's called the adze end. You can use it. You can take the flathead, drive it into door jambs, jams on or gaps on car doors, hoods, things like that to pry. The pointed end, you can use it. You can drive it in on sheet metal on a car. Open that sheet metal up, and I've had to do this. Drive it into a car hood, peel it back, and you can actually get a hose line in to put a fire down, knock a fire down in a car until that can buy you some time until you can get that hood opened up and complete extinguishment on a car. So these are very, very handy tools. The pry bar, there again, that's a good rescue tool. You can also use it for, you have to take a window out, you don't have anything else. Prying during taking sheet metal, any kind of sheet metal. Yeah, so if you're doing overhaul, you're doing fire attack. Claw tool. I've never seen a lot of those used, but you know, obviously you can use it to pry sheet metal, wood, whatever you need to. Okay. Push-pull tools. Probably the most common one of those would be your pike poles. You'll see those used a lot for opening walls up. You guys probably don't have as much gypsum board walls as we do. Jose, and your newer construction, are you guys starting to see a lot more gypsum board there?
Not as the main construction, but maybe to decorate the porch or maybe the sitting area outside.
Okay.
Like, for example, where you're seated, you can find gypsum on
Okay.
top there, but not in the sitting room, or we use a lot of
Okay.
concrete than of
Yeah.
gypsum.
Okay. I didn't know if the newer construction, they were starting to use it more or not.
Yeah.
It's very handy. The pike poles are very handy in opening up that. They used to breach walls like that. They can even be used in areas where, say, you have the iron sheets. You can use the hook to pull the iron sheets down, expose hidden fire. The New York hooks that that would be in the top right-hand picture. It's very similar to a pike pole. The New York hook has a pry bar on the other end. Those are really handy. I had to use that on a fire the other day where we had iron sheet, and it was up on the side of a wall, and we couldn't get to it. Couldn't get it to pull off, so we used the pry bar to pry the bottom of the iron sheet loose, and then we're able to use a hook then to pull it down so we could expose some hidden fire. Those are really handy for that. A lot of firefighters will use the New York hooks for ventilation. So that's a use for that. The gypsum board hooks, I've never seen those used a lot. Obviously, you can use those to poke into walls, and then with that flat edge, it'll pull the gypsum board loose. Trash hooks on the bottom right-hand corner there. Those are great tools. I use those a lot. You can use those to pull large pieces of debris that are on the ground loose, to pull through piles of material, whether it be like construction material or like agricultural material, hay, things like that, hay, grass, burnt trees, things like that you need to overhaul and get to the seat of the fire. Those work great. Like I say, I use those a lot. So all good uses for the trash hooks. So Jose, let's grab some people in here and let's get some discussion going about available resources. So from the tools that you guys have seen, Does anybody have any ideas that we could use for substituting anything for some of the tools that we've seen? Jose, can we see if we can get anybody engaged as far as coming up with ideas?
Great. Thank you, Brad. If you'd want to speak with the question that has been asked in the discussion, you can just unmute and then speak up. Yes, Florence, go ahead. Anybody else? Anybody who would want to contribute? The discussion is, can locally available resources be used in place of any of these tools? Thinking off my head, I'm thinking something like a hand cutter, like a saw. They can be used to cut the iron sheets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Jose, like a what we would call a hacksaw.
Hacksaw, correct.
Yes. So
hacksaw.
So when I was young and we had bought our first house, we had to remodel it and demo it. We wanted to replace some walls. A friend of mine and I took hose, and we took the blades off the hose and just had the hook part without the blades, and we used those to pull the wall material down, the old wall material. So that's an idea. And I know that hose are readily available in most areas of Africa. What about using a rake in place of a trash hook?
That could work too.
Any other ideas?
Patrick, I see your mic on. You can give your thoughts.
You can use also a scissor, the local scissor to cut iron sheets.
Thank you. True.
What was that?
Scissors, the normal scissors to cut the iron sheets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be a good idea too. Absolutely. Any other ideas?
We can also use stones instead of using the wooden cribs we use. We can use local stones.
Or to stop the vehicles.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Any other ideas for local available resources? I say, just keep in mind the jobs that we're trying to accomplish, those 5 things that we're trying to do. We're trying to do fire attack, we're trying to do forcible entry, trying to do ventilation, you know, just keep in mind the jobs that we're trying to do. And if you do that, whatever it takes to accomplish the job. You know, can everybody give me an idea of what kind of tools that they carry at their different fire brigades? How well are they equipped?
Feel free to just also type it in the chat too. If you don't want to unmute, you can always answer these
absolutely.
questions in the chat.
It's always interesting for me to know, so I have an idea of how to teach a
What's
class.
that? What's
No, Patrick. Go ahead, brother.
How do you call like a locally available tool? I'm looking for an English word. Tarimbo.
For locally available tools.
Tarimbo is what in English?
It's a big metal. A big
Yes,
metal with a big diameter.
so it can be used rather like a
Rod.
Halligan tool.
A rod. We can call it a rod. Metal rod.
Rod. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like instead of if I, for example, that's a local tool. If let's say I forgot my Halligan tool, I can use that for possible entry and
Absolutely. Yep.
accessing this.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you have around that you can use? What do you have? Anything that you have? What do you have that you can get that you can use?
Yes, Samuel. Go ahead. Samuel Minor.
Okay, I was to answer that question. The name for Taribo is called a crowbar.
A crowbar.
A crowbar. That's an excellent tool.
Thank you very much, Bana. English. Thank you, Maina. Thank you, Maina, for support.
That's an excellent tool.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's an excellent tool.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. What tools do you have in your toolbox inside your fire truck? You can tell us. You have the crowbar.
Does anybody have what I would call a claw hammer? What I would call
Yep. Claw hammer. Yep.
so those
And
are
also an axe, a
just,
screwdriver.
So those things can all accomplish the same tasks as some of the tools that we were talking about. Anybody else?
Yep, we have one more in the chat that says that they have a grinder.
A grinder, yeah, absolutely. You can open up sheet metal with that. The iron sheets. You can open up. You can cut bars with that. Very good.
Yeah, we can also use a chisel.
A chainsaw. You have a chainsaw.
chainsaw, chisel. Correct.
and a steel short lever that can possibly work.
Does anybody have the short I call them wrecking bars. They're a flat pry bar.
Flat pry bar. Never seen those.
Okay. So they're flat on one edge and they
long plier. You mean long plier or what? Long plier or what? A plier will
long
be
ply.
A long plier.
Long plier?
Huh?
Yeah. Yes. All good examples. Okay. Well, let's move on. I have one more thing that I'd like to cover. And that's maintenance on some of the tools. So shows here, shows the firefighter working on his jaws. That's the only picture I can find. So first thing we're going to talk about is on some of the cutting and prying tools. So we'll hit the kind of hit how to take care of the edges, the heads. Biggest thing is first thing you want to do is to take the paint off. If there's any paint on those heads, on the edges, you want to get some sandpaper, get like a wire brush, get that off of there, get that metal exposed. You want to inspect those for cracks. If there's any cracks, you should probably take that out of service. Get a file the heads. You don't want to use a grinder on those heads. Just use a file. On the axis, you don't want to bring them down to a very fine, sharp edge, because you can end up chipping out. If you have a sharp edge, a sharp edge, you can chip out the edges when you start chopping things with them. On your prying tools, you're just wanting to maintain the bevel on your prying tools. When you get done filing them, you want to put just a fine coat of oil on them to maintain them, to keep them from rusting. So that's all on that, Leah. We can move to the next one. Okay, on your striking tools, there again, get all the paint removed from them. Either using sandpaper or there again a wire brush. Inspect them for cracks. Take them out of service if you see cracks. Just make sure that they're smooth. You don't want to see burrs, things like that on them. And then just put a coat of oil on them, keep them from rusting. So the tools on them, or the handles, wood handles, sand them down smooth. Wood handles, you apply linseed oil. Just get a nice coat of linseed oil on there. The handles are cracked. It's probably time to replace the handles, put a new handle on. You also, when you are inspecting the handles, make sure that they're attached well, that they're attached tightly to the head. Okay, if not, you can usually get a wedge and drive in and make sure that they're seated tightly in there. So plastic, make sure that plastic's clean. Sometimes there can be burrs that will stick up out of that plastic. You can usually sand those off. Just inspect to make sure that there's no defects. Fiberglass handles, clean those up, soap and water. And there again, inspect them for damage, inspect them for cracks. If the handles are cracked, replace them. And just sand them smooth. So anyway, questions? Anybody have any questions?
Feel free to type any questions that you guys might have in the chat, or you can unmute now and just ask those questions that you might have. If not, we can wrap it up and go into tea time. All right. Well, thank you so much, Brad, for presenting today. Thank you for also handling the hiccup that we had so well. I know that was probably pretty difficult to present from your phone and looking at my slides that I had up on the computer. So thank you very much for rolling with those punches today and doing such a great job.
Leah.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You did an awesome job of presenting. So
thank you. Definitely new for me too. So thank you. And thank you for all you guys who are present today, just participating and talking with us today. And I just want to remind everybody that this was recorded. It's going to be posted on our YouTube channel, and to please invite any of your coworkers or people in your community that might be interested in learning about the fire service. Please invite them to next week. You can always share the registration link. And then also in the email that I send out afterwards, please connect in our Africa Fire Mission networking group chat that we have on Facebook. That's a great resource for you guys. Just to stay connected with each other in between trainings, and use the same link that you used this week for registration to log on and register for next week. We're going to have Krista Nielsen with us again next week, so we're really excited about that. And with all that being said, I'm going to hand it off to Jose for some tea time. Bye-bye.